Whenever I play Minecraft, there's always that one thing that I always do. And this time I decided to make a village base. But instead of making a normal village base, I decided to get 1,000 villagers. This was one of the biggest projects I've ever done in Minecraft, and it took over 20 hours to complete. So if you could leave a like, subscribe, and hopefully if this video gets to 100 likes, I will get this village base to 5,000 villagers. To start off this project, I decided to split the build into two sections. Each section would be 100 blocks long and 20 blocks wide, meaning 5 rows of beds for each section and total of 1,000 beds for 1,000 villagers. Now I'm gonna terraform a little bit with the time lapse. After clearing up the area where I was going to build, I decided to go make some trades with the villagers at the desert village. Except I totally forgot about the almond effect and I ended up having to defend a whole raid that kinda wiped out half my villagers. But it was fine though, I got some totems of undying and I completed the hero of the village advancement. I got a nice amount of emeralds from them and ended up going back home. But instead of working on the village thing, I for some reason decided to get a beacon. And honestly, all these new updates coming out, now instead of mining 1 ore for iron, you can get like a ton with Fortune 3. Worst thing about a beacon, you always gotta fight the wither, and for me, it's a traumatizing experience. I guess it was some kind of glitch that the wither didn't spawn right away, but it was fine when I rebuilt it.
Got him!
After that, I got some of the weird black flowers and went back home. And I finally got the beacon, which was actually so much more helpful. To have a better explanation of why I got the beacon, it was so I could carve stone much faster and more satisfying, because I know I was going to need a lot of it. It's been such a long time since I've done this, I forgot how satisfying it was. Now that I got all the stone that I needed, I decided to replace the cobblestone with those stone bricks, and it looked a lot better. And then I ended up filling in all the extra spaces, and it looked pretty cool. I only did one side at a time, and after I was done filling in the stone walls, I decided to put in dark oak planks as the flooring. And now all I have to do is the right side. And just like that, we completed both sides, and now I'm gonna fill in that little dirt at the very top to make it look better. After I completed filling in the dirt, I decided that instead of having many entrances into the sections, I wanted one wall to have a ton of open doorways so that I could walk in and walk out and see all the villagers. And it was coming along quite nicely. Here comes my worst weakness. No matter what build I am doing, I am terrible at doing the roof. So all I do is put a ton of slabs on and try and make it look at least half decent. I also got a horse. I named him Ice Cream.
2,000 years later.
And we are done with the roofs. Nice. It looks very plain and simple, but I'm not going for the looks right now. And now I went to go make a sheep farm. I was gonna need a ton of wool for all these beds that I'm gonna be making. This was probably the biggest animal farm I've ever made. And here's another time lapse of me placing all 1,000 beds. And just like that, we are done with the beds. At this point, I realized that I probably should have gotten the villagers before I started building all of these extra stuff. Anyways, I still did it, so I guess time to get the villagers. I decided to get the villagers from the desert village through the nether so that it'll go by quicker. And I ended up finding a villager in the nether, so that was pretty cool. With a couple failed attempts, I finally got the villager on the railroad up to the nether portal to my house. I put him on a boat and I went to go get the second one. This was a very tedious job because the second one, he for some reason did not want to go with me and he kept trying to escape. But I still got them both into the village base that I made. Now here comes the waiting game. I then decided to make a farm for my farmer, so when I'm away they can still make more villagers. And then I was just gathering a ton of material so I could trade with the villagers and get a ton of XP. And before I knew it, I already had a ton of villagers coming along quite nicely. I also cured a zombie villager, which was pretty cool, and made a ton of trades. And then I enchanted my diamond armor and made some netherite armor. And then it took me a hot minute, but I finally got mending on that zombie villager. And just like that, we got full netherite armor. It's a good feeling. It was slow progress at first, but I did see the villagers coming along quite nicely. I also had to keep a close eye for creepers because I did not want them destroying anything. And then I just kept trading with the villagers, gathering more materials, finding stuff to do, making massive progress on the village. Until I decided to go fight the Ender Dragon. To be honest, fighting the Wither was a lot scarier than this, and my screen recorder for some reason did not capture the sound for this beautiful moment, so yeah, sorry about that. But before I went back home, I really wanted the Elytra, so I went into the end place with all the end cities and I found one. And then I returned home, and I also made the sugarcane farm, which was actually quite helpful leveling up the villagers before they can trade glass. I then updated my Elytra and just waited for them to get to 1,000, and it was getting really close. Having so many villagers really lagged my computer, but to be honest, it was really worth it. At this point, I knew I was getting really close, so all I did was wait around. And done. Every bed is filled with a useless villager. For some reason, 3 villagers didn't feel like sleeping, so there was 3 open beds, but all the beds were taken. And that concludes our video. So smash that like button and the subscribe button, and hopefully stay tuned because I might be doing more of these videos.